I'm here because I lost my daughter. I'm here because I lost my daughter after I got recovery. And I think that her message should be heard. She was young and she had a chance, but she made a decision when she was using, and it cost her life even after she sought help. She passed away from endocarditis from using a dirty needle. She was like my little best friend. She lit up the room. Definitely didn't think that she would grow up to follow in my footsteps. I don't think it was predetermined. I think that watching me go through addiction and the trauma from her parents' divorce, moving to a new neighborhood in high school, new group of friends, things like that, influences changed her. Typical teenage stuff. She started partying young, got too independent too fast. She was good until she wasn't. You know, there were signs. There were. She stopped going to school. She started hanging out with the wrong kids and getting into trouble. Just skipped a lot. She graduated. She did graduate. I don't think she ever wanted to go to college. She was more of a, let's see where the road leads us kind of person. But I don't know that her dad ever got his. And I know that watching me still go to school and things like that really encouraged her. And so I think that getting her actual diploma was pretty important. Even if she did skip a lot. You have to remember, I was in active addiction. I was an alcoholic for well over 2 decades, and it turned into a heroin addiction. So she watched me struggle, and I was wrapped up in myself. She was living with her dad, and he was doing the best he could. He was. I don't know if there was any more he could have done for her. I think he just kind of let her learn her own lessons and try to live life, as long as she wasn't doing bad, robbing stores and things like that. I don't think he was too concerned, and she wasn't. So, she was just experimenting with her friends and maybe hanging out a little later than she should have. She wrecked a couple cars. I feel like every teenager does, though. COVID hit, and she had met a boy, and they went to New Jersey to see his parents, and lockdowns happened. It wasn't like Florida. She wasn't able to leave and just come back. So she was in a situation, I don't know if she felt like she was trapped. I wouldn't say that. But she was. When I had just gotten clean, and I was living here in Florida, and she told me she was going on vacation in New Jersey to meet her boyfriend's parents. And I said, oh, that's great. We had a great relationship. And they drove up there, and like I said, COVID hit and the lockdowns hit, and she couldn't get back. She just couldn't get back. But she just fell into addiction from there. It just got worse and worse. And at the time, I was pregnant. And we drove all the way to Jersey, and we picked her up, and we brought her back. And she was in full-blown addiction. She had lost so much weight. She looked so sick. But she came back to Florida with us, and she stayed at her dad's, and she told us that she was staying sober. And I don't know, she just was fighting the addiction. but she was in a lot of pain, and she would not go to the hospital. I think she was scared. She was scared of the hospital. She was scared to get COVID if she went to the hospital, which is crazy. She finally went, and it was pretty much too late. I remember the nurse saying that even if she had showed up 4 days prior, she probably still wouldn't have had a chance. But they went ahead with surgery, and she didn't make it. When she was in New Jersey, when she felt like she was stuck there, she couldn't leave because of the lockdowns, she was in active addiction. And, I'm sure part of her wanted to stay there, and it was an excuse to stay. But she was on the streets. She was sharing needles, sharing pipes. She would call us or text us and tell us how great it was up there and how great she was doing. Send her money to help because nobody could work. I didn't know I was enabling her. When she was sick with the infection, she would stay up at night and just holler in pain and just scream. She'd fall asleep and she'd still be crying. And her fever was so high. The guy she was with was trying to give her cold showers, and she would not go. At one point, we called an ambulance for her. She refused. I don't know if the addiction changed her to where she was just scared of any medical attention, or if it was because she was scared she was going to get caught that she was still using, maybe. Endocarditis is the swelling, it's an infection around the valve in the heart, I guess it was in her blood and eventually built up on her heart, but that was from sharing a needle with somebody, dirty needle, and getting an infection. And I didn't even know that she had an infection, but somebody on the street had put tea tree oil on her arm, and she was praising it because she thought that it had healed her arm, but it hadn't. She was admitted to the hospital where they let her FaceTime me. I talked to her for a few minutes, could see that she was in a lot of pain, and the nurse finally said, I'm going to let her get some rest. And then from what I understand, she got very combative, and so they sedated her and then intubated her, and she never woke back up. She went to surgery the next morning. It wasn't fair. As many times as I've overdosed, and I should have died, I'm still here, and she didn't make it. We were waiting. Everybody was in my living room, my family, my other son, her father, my new husband. And we got a phone call. We knew that surgery had started. They'd called us and told us that they were going in. And it was literally like 7 minutes later, the phone rang. I answered it, and I was so optimistic and so gung-ho that she was going to be fine, that the doctor told me on the phone, I'm sorry, we did everything we could. We did CPR as long as we could, and she's gone. And I said, okay, thank you, and hung up the phone because I didn't hear that. I heard everything went fine. Your daughter's fine. And like 3 minutes later, another phone call came in. It was on her dad's phone. And it was somebody asking him to come claim her body so they could get the room back. And that's when we realized that she didn't make it. I never thought at 42 I'd be having another child. But had I not been pregnant when she passed away, I don't know that I'd be here. And every day, I live for my kids. And they're what keeps me sober. That and helping other people.